Welcome to Newsbite, your daily deep dive into the tech stories that are changing our world, literally as we speak. Let's get into it. In just the last 24 hours, the tech world basically gave us a movie in 3 acts. We had a giant counting its cash, a high-stakes gambler pushing all in on a wild bet, and a digital gold rush that just got a whole lot crazier. We're going to break down what it all means right now.
So, here's what's on the docket today. We'll kick off with the big headlines. Then, we'll zoom in on Apple's incredible success and the one huge problem they're facing. After that, we're talking about Elon Musk's grand vision for a new kind of empire. Then, we'll jump into the chaotic world of AI. And finally, we'll connect all the dots and figure out what this means for you.
All right, let's start at the top. What are the major stories that have everyone in tech talking today?
First up is our giant, Apple. They just dropped a quarterly report that is, by all accounts, absolutely staggering. But hiding just beneath that mountain of cash is a really big problem. Just look at that number for a second. $143.8 billion in one quarter. That's a 16% jump from last year, and it's pretty much all thanks to the insane demand for the new iPhone.
And this, right here, is Apple's big contradiction. On one hand, you've got demand that is just off the charts. We're talking about an ecosystem of 2.5 billion active devices out there. But on the other hand, they can't get enough memory chips to actually build them. This one supply issue could throw a wrench in the entire money-making machine.
So what do you do when you're a company that big? Well, you make some very smart, very calculated moves. First, they're funneling the chips they do have into their most expensive, high-end iPhones. Makes sense. But here's the really interesting part. They're pivoting hard into AI. They just snapped up an AI startup called Q.AI for over $1.6 billion, and they're souping up Siri with Google's Gemini-AI. The strategy is pretty clear. If you can't make more phones, you make the ones you can build a whole lot smarter.
Okay, now for our gambler. Word on the street is Elon Musk is getting ready to make a move that would bundle his massive companies into one single, powerful entity. He is pushing all his chips to the center of the table, folks.
I mean, really think about that. His game-changing car company, his private rocket company that's conquering space, and his super ambitious AI venture. What on earth happens when you smash all of those together?
It seriously reads like something out of a comic book, right? Step 1, take over the roads. Step 2, take over the sky. Step 3, create machines that think. And Step 4, combine them all into a real-life tech Voltron. Step 5 is probably on the whiteboard somewhere, I'm just saying. Kidding aside, the strategy here is gigantic. A move like this would link his AI, Grok, with the Starlink satellite network and all that data from the X platform. We're hearing it's backed by a $20 billion pivot toward AI and robotics, and the timing is key. He wants to do it before any of these go public, creating a single corporate behemoth that you can bet regulators are going to have a very close eye on. And speaking of AI, Musk's huge ambitions lead us right into our third act, what I'm calling the Wild West. The AI scene right now is a total frontier town. Fortunes are being made overnight, the rules are being made up as we go, and nobody really knows what's coming next. If you want to get a sense of just how big this gold rush is, look at OpenAI. They're reportedly trying to raise $100 billion. That's just an insane amount of money to stay ahead of rivals like Anthropic with an Ion going public in late 2026. The amount of cash being bet on AI is almost hard to comprehend.
But while the investors are throwing money around, the people who actually build our games and software are, well, they're nervous. This stat from game developers says it all. More than half think this stuff is actually a threat, especially when you've got layoffs happening all over the industry. There's a real human side to all this disruption.
And with all this chaos, the sheriffs are finally riding into town. All around the world, governments are scrambling to write the rules. South Korea just passed a huge safety law that even covers the mental health effects of AI. China's carefully letting in powerful new chips. The EU is debating how to label AI content. And here in the US, a Waymo robotaxi incident has kicked off a major safety investigation. The race to regulate is on. Okay, so after all that, giants, gamblers, and gold rushes, let's bring it back down to earth. Who's winning, who's losing, and what does any of this have to do with us? As you'd probably guess, it's a mixed bag. For us, the consumers, it's kinda cool. New tech is exciting. But it could also mean higher prices and shortages. For developers, it's a double-edged sword. Powerful new tools to play with, but also real worries about job security. And for investors, man, it is a high-wire act.
weighing massive potential against massive risk.
So for keeping score, who's on top? Right now, it's definitely Apple and the chip king, Nvidia. If Musk's bet pays off, his empire is a clear winner, along with AI leaders like OpenAI. And on the flip side, it's a tough time for folks in the gaming industry and for any of us who are hoping to snag a cheap gadget this year.
Which leaves us with one big question to chew on. As AI rewrites all the rules of the game in real time, are we actually making the world smarter and better, or are we just making it a whole lot more complicated? Definitely something to think about.
Visit newsbite.tech for more tech news and bites.